Welcome back, Finca family, to this week's episode. My name's Emma. I'm one of the owners of Tenerife Horse Rescue, and I'm here with Katja, one of our brilliant volunteers. You know a lot about her, but you don't realise you know a lot about her, because if you've been watching our videos, she's the master behind them all. But sadly, this is our very last video with her, so we thought to celebrate that, we've got a perfect video with her who's going to tell you all about her time here, how she fell in love with Lumpy, became a dog mummy, and how she came to get here. So as always, give us a thumbs up, comment, tell us what you think, and tell us how good her videos are and get her to come back. See you outside. I'm Emma and this is Edu. We're the founders of Tenerife Horse Rescue.
We are a small non-profit, self-founded, eco-friendly animal sanctuary born in 2018. We are run by a great big family of volunteers.
And an even bigger animal family. Don't forget to press the subscribe button to follow our Finca Life adventures every week.
This story begins in November last year when I was sitting alone in my apartment in Ljubljana, Slovenia, and thinking how I can escape the European winter, which is collapsing with pandemic and which made me pretty miserable at that time. So I was thinking where in Europe I can go that the weather would be nicer, pretty much anywhere south, that is. So I searched through the Workaway page and looked into all the volunteer projects that are available in Canary Islands. I think at that time I wrote about 20 messages. Yeah, I think 20 messages to different projects in different islands around Canary Islands. And Emma was the only one out of 20 that actually replied to me. So we began chatting on WhatsApp. And I kind of had the feeling that this project is not just gonna be a few weeks. So I had some decisions to make, and while making those decisions I actually went and took a trip to Southeast Turkey in December, and I came back realizing that the pandemic has changed how I live and how my future is going to look like, which made me decide I need to leave my apartment because I just couldn't afford it anymore. And I thought a workaway project in this way would be perfect because most of the projects, they cover your accommodation and food. Therefore, I wouldn't have to spend a lot of money being here. Luckily, it was kind of the perfect timing. I wrote again to Emma and she was like, yes, well, what can you do? Like, we have a few positions available. Can you do YouTube videos? Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't have much experiences in it, but I did start a YouTube channel just a few months earlier, and I did start learning to use the proper professional software to edit videos and things. So I just was like, yes, I can do it. I can do anything you want. I just need to leave Slovenia as soon as possible. And this is how it all kind of began. Emma told me a little bit about how life here looks like, how life at the finca looks like. She told me that the food that we eat gets here by donations, and she told me that the accommodation is pretty basic, pretty rustic. People live in caravans and caves. And hearing this, I didn't really understand what that meant. I did have some doubts about it. I never lived in a community before, and being used to living in a city for most of my life, I did have some doubts. I was a little bit scared, I had to admit, because the change for me was not just leaving Europe and coming to Tenerife. It was also about leaving my apartment behind, leaving my friends and family, changing my life and becoming a digital nomad. So for me, it was quite an intense change and quite an intense experience to begin with. So when I first arrived at the finca in the middle of January, I had to say I was very, very pleasantly surprised and blown away by how the finca, how the animal sanctuary and this community works and looks like. I was escorted to my cave, and I have to say it was nothing like I thought it would be. It basically looked like to me as some luxury glamping that people would actually pay a lot of money to stay in this kind of accommodation. It was just beautiful in a very basic way and very different, and it's just a really cool place to stay. It doesn't have anything. It doesn't have water, electricity, Wi-Fi, nothing, no heating, nothing. So basically all you need to make it comfy is a few blankets and some candles, and it's a magical place to stay in. So that was kind of my first introduction. Like I saw the finca and I saw the cave, and then you start meeting all the people and the animals, and it was a little bit overwhelming at that time. We were a community of, I think, about 20 people, and as I got to know everyone, I just kind of relaxed, and I really liked the energy of the place, and how it was this very organized but at the same time a little bit chaotic place where everybody had their own job, but then again like worked together to make the place better, and how everyone was very enthusiastic and doing all this for the sake of all the animals there. And just like when you saw the passion in people, how they care and how they treat the animals, it was like just a really warm and nice experience to have. My first job here was, making YouTube videos, and it was quite hard, I remember, because only my second video I had to film one of the most heartbreaking stories that I probably ever will. We had to say goodbye to our dear horse Zingaro, and it was just a very emotional and very hard moment, but I was very proud of the video I made and all the comments I got after it, just like, because it's hard to portray something like that in a way that it's not gonna be too disturbing or too hard. And then all the videos that followed was just like so much of a learning experience, not just about like what I am doing, because I was learning things about YouTube and like editing along with what I was doing, but also learning about everything that is going on in the finca, because basically I'm documenting what volunteers are doing and how the animals are doing, anything from how we rescue the animals and about their transformation process. But also I was just following volunteers around the finca, filming stuff like how they feed the small animals, how they feed the horses, how they build things, because everything is built from sustainable materials. It was just a big learning experience. As I've mentioned in some of the previous videos where I talk about my digital nomad experience, I came here to do the volunteer project, but at the same time I'm still working for my job back in Slovenia. So I kind of had to organize everything in a way that it would just work and also give me enough time that I can go around the island and explore, because it is a paradise island. It's gorgeous here. And to socialize with people and to just have like a normal life, if you can even have if you can say this is normal. In the last 3.5 months that I've been here, I experienced so many things that I think I already forgot most of them, but even just nights by the fire and listening to someone play on their guitar, to pizza nights, to just exploring the island together with some of the volunteers in the finca, going to the beach together. even just having community meals and talking and spending evenings playing poker, I feel like we are living in a little bit of a bubble here, because living in the community in the time of a pandemic just gives you an opportunity to socialize, whereas the outside world is restricted to 2 or 4 or 6 people sitting at the same table. So for me, I got the feeling that I escaped all that. I escaped all the things and restrictions that before coming here made me really anxious and really unhappy and kind of depressed. So it was one of the best decisions I made in my life, for sure. One of the things about this community that also surprised me was the freeganism. As I said, Emma told me beforehand that we get most of the food from donations, but I didn't really understand what that meant. So when I arrived, only my second day, I went with one of the volunteers that was doing the donation pickups. I went with him to one of the nearby towns, and after a few minutes I realized that we are actually dumpster diving, and this is where our food comes from. I have to say I was a little bit shocked, unpleasantly surprised, and I think I'm one of those people that had a little bit of prejudice about like eating food from dumpsters. So in my first week, I think everything I took from the community fridge, I checked 3 times if it looks edible. And then like you kind of realize that people throw away food that is, well, it doesn't belong to a dumpster. You can still reuse it. If nothing else, the animals are still gonna eat it. So that was one of the things that really surprised me at first, and as the time passed by, I just kind of got into it, and like I went dumpster diving again and was kind of sad when we didn't find any food in the dumpsters. Well, now we are kind of lucky because most of the food doesn't even go to the dumpster. It comes to us before the stores throw it into the dumpster. We get so many things that I wouldn't even buy in a supermarket. We get stuff like salmon, prawns, and things that are kind of luxury food, and it's still edible. It gets to us because maybe the packaging is broken or something like that. So when I learned a little bit more about what it means to be vegan and where this food comes from, I am now very proud to say that we are eating in this way, and we are not only eating but living. Like the whole philosophy of the Finca, besides the welfare of the animals, is like this sustainable life, upcycling and reusing everything and getting everything from the skids or from the dumpsters, which I think is just amazing and only shows you that you don't have to live a luxurious life to be happy. Like you can basically live for free and still have a comfortable, nice life. I know most of the things here are possible because of the weather, because we don't really get much of the rain. I think in the 3.5 months that I've been here, it rained like 5 times maybe. So all this like living in caves and living in caravans and such is possible because of the good weather that we have and the climate. Because it doesn't rain, it doesn't really get cold during the night, so you can basically sleep outside. It's no problem, and this is one of the things that I really love about the Finca. And then there's the story of me and Lumpy. Before coming to this place, I always wanted a dog. I did have a dog in the past. My family always owned dogs, and because I was living alone in my apartment in the city during the pandemic, it's quite lonely. So having a companion was one of the things that I really wanted. But then again, I travel a lot, so I don't want to leave my dog with someone to care about them. It's my dog, so I want to have him. And so the desire was there, but also the responsibility, which I thought was maybe a little bit too much for the lifestyle that I was living. So coming to this place where I saw that the volunteers actually take care individually for their favorite dog or even adopt them. I was like, oh my God, like I really, really want to take care of a dog. I think it would be really amazing for him as well as me, because I think animals are so therapeutic. And so I love to be surrounded by them. And then I think my second week here, Lumpy arrived. Emma and Edo rescued, well, not rescued, they took Lumpy and Porky from one of the shelters here on the island that are really overcrowded. I think they have more than like 450 dogs. So they took Lumpy and Porky with them to the finca to give them a new life and just make their last years a little bit more pleasant than living in a cage. So I was doing a video and filming how Lumpy and Porky arrived to the finca, and I immediately fell in love with Lumpy. He was just the cutest dog, and he had this huge lump on his side that was just operated a few days prior. And I was like, okay, this dog needs a lot of love and a lot of care, and I want to do that for him. So for the first few days, he was in a paddock because he was on antibiotics and he was not able to move much due to his lump that was getting healed. And then after, and I came to visit him every day, and like I petted him, and I just knew that this is it. So after a while, when he was allowed to go out, me and some other volunteers, we were taking both like Lumpy and Porky out, and then he just kind of became my dog, and he soon started sleeping in my cave and just started following me everywhere. Being together now for 3 months, I have these moments of realization where, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring him with me, I feel really sad. I know even if I leave, he's going to have a good home here, but I kind of feel in a way that he's not a typical finca dog. He doesn't run around much. He is basically by my side all the time, sleeping with me when I'm in the office. He's sleeping under the table. When I go to have community lunch, he's there with me. He's just basically following me all the time. He doesn't even leave me to go to the toilet alone. So you can imagine that we're gonna miss each other a lot. So hopefully when I really do leave the island, I can bring him with me. Fingers crossed. So after 3 months and a half, I feel like I gave this place my best, and it's my time to leave. I learned a lot. I gained experiences in producing videos, sustainable life, freeganism. I made many amazing connections with people here that I will miss dearly, and I really hope to see again. And I will see again. As long as I'm still on the island, I will come back. I will visit Lumpy, that I also love so much, and I'm so grateful to this place that basically got me out of a really shitty situation back home, and I will forever be grateful to this place and really hope that I can be back someday.
So thank you for watching. I hope you're not as sad as we are. We really don't want her to leave. She's been amazing, and she's brought our YouTube video so far. She's done way better, and it's been so good for me because I've had not to think about anything. She's just like, Emma, come here, do this. Emma, come, got this video. It's been amazing. So thank you so much for your time here. Loved it. It's really sad.
You're gonna make me cry.
Oh, I'm gonna miss it. We're gonna miss you so much. Our office
I'm gonna
will
miss
not be
you
the
too
same.
as well.
So I hope you really enjoyed the video. Give her a thumbs up, give her lots of comments, let her go out with a bang. Tell us everything you thought. Thumbs up, subscribe, make her time worth it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.